not super fast, not super fast and furious. So you might want a moderate paced set of music if you do like to listen to the music while you do your work. First thing we're going to do, you're going to grab your Pilates ball and it's going to be cross crawl with a toss between. So you're going to go ball in the hand to opposite knee, toss it over to the other hand, and then away you go. So you're just going to toss and tap. And that's the work. And we got 1 minute on the clock. So go slow, especially if your hand-eye coordination takes a minute to get there. And then allow it to be just a little bit playful. So opposite hand to opposite foot, opposite hand to opposite knee, a little bit of across the midline of the body, and a little toss in between. And then I like when we do our ball tossing, sometimes it's nice to take your eyes away from the screen so that you can let the ball come across your visual cortex. So it does a little bit of nice work for the nervous system. Seven seconds left. All right, that's time. Place your ball down on the floor. And now we're just going to roll out the bottom of the foot. We're going to go 30 seconds one foot, 30 seconds the other. And where you go with it is just going to be like what feels good. When we use the big Pilates ball underneath the foot, think of like just big increased blood flow to the surface of the skin. You're not going to get like that deep tissue massage. However, if you have your toes that tend to want to curl up and under a little bit and you need to work on that little stretch and extension, then do the little toes and extension and a little squish, squish, squish with the toes. So go for the work that makes the most sense to your feet this morning. All right, take one more second on this foot. And then when you're ready, pass the ball over to the other foot. And then away you go. Roll, squish the toes, get anywhere that feels good. Take your time. And then if you did just like a little bit of everything, get those toes into extension, do a little squish, 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 just wake up the plantar fascia, wake up your muscles in your feet, increase that blood flow. That helps us just kind of liven the proprioceptors so that we feel a little bit more alert and alive down in our feet. All right, now we're going to take it into a bounce. First 20 seconds, you're just bouncing your body. So go with just a nice in breath through your nose, out breath through your nose, let your body bounce a little bit. And then at the next time we change, it'll be taking it into heel drops. And for our heel drops, we want to go for that bone density work. So a little bit of impact. So when you're ready, take it into your heel drops with a little bit more impact. But if your energy level today says stick with the bounce, stick with the bounce. You're always going to listen into your body and do the stuff that feels really good. When we change at the next 20 seconds, you'll take it into a jump. But if you're not feeling like jumping, you're going to stick with the heel drops or take it back to the bounce. 2 seconds. All right, here we go. Take it into a jump if jumping feels good, or stick with the bounce, or stick with your heel drops. Go for the stuff that feels good right now. When we're using the wall today, some of the stuff I'll position myself in different various places. All right, take a second, just march it out. We're gonna make our way to the wall. I'll spin myself in different directions, hopefully so that everything that we're doing shows up across the screen. The first thing we're gonna do is a walking down dog. So imagine that there's a wall in front of my hands. You're gonna walk your hands up the wall. You're going to walk them back down to shoulder height. You're going to walk back to a down dog stretch, and you're going to try to keep your hands in that position. And then you're going to walk back up, and then you're going to walk your hands. So with your hands against the wall, walk up as far as your arms comfortably go. Walk back down to shoulder height. Walk your butt back to a down dog stretch, and then walk it back in. And then you just take it up and down. Walk the hands. Walk your feet. Don't worry about it being perfect. Just allow your arms to move in a comfortable way. Allow your body to walk forward and back in a comfortable way. Notice your breath and notice how your shoulders feel. 3 seconds left. Next up, we're going to turn ourselves a little sideways. So now we're going to go into a little bit of a side plank, and I'll say a little bit of a side plank. Put your hand against the wall, walk your feet out just a touch. We want to keep our arms so it's in a relatively straight position. We want to think wide, proud shoulders, open armpit, good spread of the fingers, walk your feet away. And then for 30 seconds, that outer leg is just lifting up and down. The toes and the knees stay pointing fairly forward. We keep that nice slight side planking position so that the side body feels a little bit active. Breath in and out through your nose best you can. Five seconds left on this side. All right, when you're ready, spin it around, take it to the other side, hand to the wall straight, walk your feet out just a little bit. So you find just a little side plank, and then that outer leg is doing the lift. Your inside body stays a little bit alert and alive. Your armpits stay nice and open. Your shoulders stay nice and proud. Toes and the knees are pointing fairly forward. You got 15 seconds left. You got this. And then while you're doing this work, to tell you where we're heading next, we're going to be standing on a yoga block and we're going to jump off the yoga block. But you want to make sure that that work feels safe and comfortable. So we're going to play near the wall specifically so that we just have that cautionary space so that we feel good and sturdy. All right, grab your yoga block. I'm going to say yoga block on low setting. And you're going to step your feet onto the block and you're going to jump. And then you're going to step your feet back onto the block. And you're going to jump, and that's all the work. And you're just going to come onto the block and then jump off of the block. And you want a little bit of impact. You want to make sure it feels safe though. So if you feel a little bit wobbly or if your balance is a little off today, hand to the wall, give yourself that security, and then you jump. You've got it. And then if that's feeling really good, you're going to alternate a single leg landing. So you're going to step up onto the block, and then as you jump, you're going to see if you can land on one foot. And then as you jump, you're going to see if you can land on the other foot. But of course, you're going to make sure that feels like a safe amount of work for your body. If your feet give you a little bit of mischief, maybe stick with the double. You're already halfway there. "20 seconds left, so keep your jumps going. To tell you where we're heading next, it's going to be mountain climbers at the wall. And we're going to be a little bit dynamic with our mountain climbers. If you prefer a mountain climber down on the ground, go for it. Me personally, my SI prefers a mountain climber at the wall. For whatever reason, it just feels a little bit better to me. All right, 1 second left. That's time. Find your way to the wall. You're going to be into a planking position. So hands are going to be out in front of you, and you walk your feet back just a little bit. And then we drive the knees up. So find your planking position, walk your feet back comfortably, and then drive those knees up, but find a nice dynamic pace. You can do this from the low surface of a chair, tall surface of the chair, down on the ground. Go for the one that feels good to you. You do want your breath to come up just a little bit because we're working big muscles and working at a slightly dynamic pace. You've got it. Nice job. You're already halfway there. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Come away from the wall, grab your Pilates ball. Now we're going to take our Pilates ball and we're going to think wall sits, but we're going to go up and down. I start when I'm up against the wall with the ball roughly at that low back tailbone area. Walk your feet forward a little bit, and then you're going to take it up and down. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to move a little bit strategically just so that my ball makes so much noise against the wall. So I'm going to try and find a quieter spot, but you put that ball roughly into that low back, and then you sit up against the wall and you're squatting up and down. And it does a little bit of that nice back body myofascial This one's not really myofascial release, it's more like myofascial stimulation. So you're just going to come up and down, find that good squatting position. Doesn't need to be fast. But notice how your legs are feeling, because in a little bit we'll come back to a wall sit with just a proper wall sit and we'll stay there. So get a sense of, how do your legs feel today? Ten seconds left. To tell you where we're heading next, we'll go back to facing the wall with a slight lean out and calf raises. So we're in that slight planking position and we'll do some calf raises. The pace of your calf raises is going to be what feels good to you. Come away from the wall, get that ball out from behind you, spin yourself around. You can, if you want to, put that ball right between your inner thighs, hold it in that steady position, walk out to that little bit of a plank, and then you're taking into your calf raises, lifting your heels up and down. Just that slight incline will change the feeling of the work. So take the time to notice, and then you just want to make sure that your ankles aren't buckling in and out too much. They're going into that nice steady lift and lower. We're in that slight incline, so it's going to just slightly shift how it feels in the work that you're doing in your calves and your ankles and your feet. You're already halfway there. And time. Nicely done. All right, if you've got that ball between your legs, take a second to put it off to the side. Now we're going to go into what I'm calling the bob and weave push-up. So we're going to do a little push-up against the wall, but as we go, we're going to go with a little bit of a making our body into this sort of a U shape, which is the hardest one for me to show because my body comes between us. So when you go, you're going to go scooping your heart to the center, shift a little over to the left, come away so one hand comes off the wall, come back through center, a little U shape, and then we pick up the other hand. So we're doing a little scoop, and then we free up a hand, and then we return it, and we do a little scoop, and we free up the hand. And it's slow, controlled movement. Think of it as a play for your fascia. So versus it feeling like really super duper muscly, a little scoop, a little lift, a careful coming in through center, and we take it over to the other side. Go for slow, controlled movement. Check in here. If you have mischievous elbows, tennis elbow, any of that kind of thing, adjust your hands so it's organized in a way that makes good sense so that your elbows feel good, your arms feel good, your armpit chest feels nice and strong. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're going back to our wall sit. So now this time we're going to just sit and stay. And when we go to our wall sit this time, we want our tailbone, back of the rib cage, and the back of our head to connect with the wall best we can. There's where your effort's going to come in. So you're going to start by finding your wall. You're going to sit down just a touch, and then you're going to make some micro adjustments as you go. So we want our low back tailbone butt side connected to the wall. Back of the rib is connected to the wall. Back of your head connected to the wall. And then once you've got your way there, all you got to do is breathe. But if you can focus your breath into your rib cage, think outward lateral rib cage breathing. So you want to breathe low and deep into the ribs so that you feel a little bit of that back of the rib cage connect to the wall behind you. Keep your head, back of your head as connected as you possibly can. For some of us, if you've got that slightly forward head position, do your best. Possibly even put your hand behind your head. Go where it feels good. You don't want to punish yourself. You just want to be here strong and sturdy and confident. And the rest is just breathing. Nice big lateral breath into your rib cage. 10 seconds left. And time. All right, slowly and carefully come up away from the wall. Stay near the wall. We're going to go right into a little figure 4 drill. So it's going to be single leg work. You're going to take your outer leg like you're going into, for my yoga friends, our figure 4 in a seated or standing position. So you're going to pick the leg up as if you're going to go into that cross position. Come as high and over as you can go, and then you set it back down. So a little out to the side, a little in and across, a little out to the side, a little in and across. And then, because it's mostly about the figure 4 work, it's about that range of motion, so finding that good control and strength. If it feels really good, then you lift, hold, release your hand, put it back, and then just go for a few more with that little release and hold. So you feel that good strength coming out of your legs. You've got it. All right, when you're ready, flip it around, take it to the other side. Comfortable hand hold, the leg crossed over. One side might always be a little different from the other on this one. So you want to shoot for that position where you're going up towards that figure 4 so you could sit into your seat. So you're finding the cross, you're finding the lift, you're holding it for a second, and then you're tapping it out. And then if that starts to feel good, come across, lift your hand, and then return. So you get that little extra bit of core challenge. And don't worry about it looking perfect, and don't worry about it looking like anybody else's. Your way that your leg externally rotates and how much cross body movement you can find might be different from day to day. You got 2 seconds left. All right, now we're going to grab our yoga block. We want to be near the wall for safety. We're going to stand on the yoga block. It's going to be 1 minute one side, 1 minute the other. So you're going to go single foot long ways on the low yoga block. The outer leg is going to start a little pendulum swing. You're just going to let that leg swing as heavy as you can. Be close enough to the wall so that if it feels good, if you're getting this swing going on and that's nice, then at about the 30-second mark, we'll add a little side bend over towards the wall. So get that leg swinging. Check in with your balance, check in with your breath. Especially if you've got anything going on around the hips or any like little nerve stuff around the hips, we want to give this just that little bit of time. And then if that feels good, the outer hand is going to reach up and over. So you get this little side bend, so you get that lateral side stretch, and you still let that leg pendulum swing. Nice work. Three seconds left on this side. All right, when you're ready, slowly come out of that side bend, step down, take a second, notice how your hips feel, and then we flip it around and reverse it. So take it over around to the other side, step your foot carefully on the block, come up, get comfortable in your stance, and then add that pendulum swing and let the legs swing, just nice, good heavy legs swinging out of the hip socket. And then once you know what you've got going on, your eyes are forward on the horizon so that your head, your heart, your hips are all lined up. 5 seconds left. And then if you want to, you'll add that side bend. But if you feel good on this side, just swing and you might stick with that. If that little side bend felt good, reach that outer hand up and over, find the wall, get into that lateral side stretch, and then keep that leg swinging. And then to tell you where we're heading next, we're going to be putting our feet up on the wall to do some hip bridges with our feet on the wall. If you don't want to put your feet on the wall, you can do your hip bridges, just standard hip bridges on your yoga mat. You can always do what feels best to you here. All right, when you're ready, release your arm out of that side bend, slowly and carefully come off of your block. Take a second, give your hips a little swish and a little wiggle. And now we're going to position ourselves. I would suggest if you have your folded up blanket for your back, put it nearby. Think about where your wall sit was. Where did your feet land? Put your blanket roughly about where your feet are. It's going to offer you that nice nervous system hold. Think of it as more nervous system hold than anything else. Come down so that you're on your back and your feet kick up onto the wall in a nice little 90-degree bend. Once you've got your way there, arms are going to come up in front of the chest. We push into the feet. We lift the butt up nice and high, and then we lower. And you want to think, especially if you've got the blanket underneath you, one vertebrae at a time. And then we follow the breath for the rest. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. You're already halfway there. Got 20 seconds left to work here, and then we will keep our feet connected to the wall and take it into some curl ups. So if you didn't put your blanket behind your back, but you know for like a crunch or a curl up position, you would prefer to have that nice cushioning for the curves, grab your blanket when the timer goes and then put it behind you so that you have that nice held up support for the back and the nervous system. All right, butt comes down. Put your blanket underneath you if you want to. Arms are going to come down alongside the hips, and then we're exhaling to curl up, inhaling to release. Keep your feet nicely planted on the wall. Follow your breath. Exhale, curl up, inhale, return. Five seconds left. From here, we're going to move more to our more traditional space. So if you want to, take yourself to your mat or move a little bit away from the wall. Put your blanket behind your back if you're working on that practice to see how does it feel good to support the curves of your back and your spine. So blanket behind you. And now we're going to take either, you'll choose your own adventure, Pilates ball or your yoga block. We're going to put it underneath our hips. The legs are going to go long, and we're going to do that up an inch, down an inch with for our hip flexors, but with a little. We're going to turn the toe in, do about 3, turn the toe up, do about 3, turn the toe out, do about 3. Pilates ball, bigger challenge. You put it underneath your tailbone sacrum, you center it in the curve of your butt, you stay in that lifted hip bridge position, but it does create a little bit more of a challenge to the core. Yoga block still offers a challenge, but it is a broader support and it's a little bit sturdier. So you're going to choose whichever tool you like best. You're going to come down onto your back. If you're using your blanket, you're going to position it so it's nicely behind you, softly holding the curves of your body. And then you're going to lift your butt up into a hip bridge position, and you're going to slide your ball or your block underneath your butt. And you're going to make sure it feels centered. The block isn't digging any corners into your butt or your back. Everything feels good and held up and supported. And then 30 seconds of work. Start with the right leg. Right leg's going to go nice and long. And we're going for that up an inch, down an inch. But we're going to add. So you're going to go about 3, toe pointing up, 3, toe pointing in, 3, toe pointing out, and then you're just going to find your little rhythm. So you go up an inch, down an inch. We got 30 seconds of work. Turn the toe in, turn the toe up, turn the toe out. Especially if you have the ball underneath you, it will feel unstable slightly, but make sure that you're still breathing comfortably in and out through your nose best you can. 3 seconds left on this side. All right, when you're ready, set that foot down, get yourself stable, switch it over to the other side. Left leg goes long, and then we find that little rhythm, up an inch, down an inch, toe up towards the ceiling, toe turns in, toe turns out. So we get about 3, 3, 3, and you find the rhythm that makes the most sense to you. All right, that's time. Keep your left leg nice and long, but let it touch down to the ground. Step your right leg out to meet. So both legs are nice and long. Your hips are in that slightly elevated position. Flex your feet, stretch your arms up above your head and take that yawning, reaching stretch. You want to feel like you're trying to create a little stretch into the front pockets of your jeans. Take a nice, big, yawning stretch. And then as you exhale, soften everything. Carefully walk your feet back in, lift your butt up, take your tool out from underneath you. And now we're going to go into alternating bottom half of the Turkish get up. So load up your, let's say, left hand. Left knee will be bent. Right leg goes long and the right arm goes out to the side. We use our exhalation. We look to the ball or the block in your hand. We come up to that seated position. We slowly return. Highly recommend the blanket underneath you for this one. And then we switch sides. Right knee comes in. Right hand gets the ball. Exhale, we come up. Inhale, we slow return. Position your blanket with that little bit of cushioning so it gives you that nice feeling that you can move effortlessly. It's not there to create no work. It's there to make the work feel good so that the things that want to brace don't have to. You can come up smoothly. You get that nice, good coordination using your core muscles, getting that nice engagement in your leg muscles, getting that little proprioception as we look to the ball, knowing that the rest of the body is held in the space around. And time. Nicely done. All right, flip over onto one side. Take your Pilates ball, stuff it underneath the side of the ribs. Your elbow's going to be on the ground. It's going to hold you in this sort of buoyant position. And then just 30 seconds of work, taking that outer leg up and down, but go for a little bit of a dynamic pace. Get a little heat into your side butt muscles. The ball is there to give you that little cushioning of support, but we're not slacking over the ball. We're staying upward lifted. We're staying energized in the spine. Our shoulder is nice and engaged. Side butt muscles getting that little bit of dynamic work. Nice job. 6 seconds left on this side. All right, take a second. Lower that leg, but slide it behind you just a little bit. Lower your arm that's on the ground so that you can come into a little lateral side stretch. Take that upper arm and do that nice big reach up and overhead, and then take 3 nice big breaths. Use your arms to carefully come up and off of that ball, and we're flipping it around to the other side. I'm going to spin myself around so I'm facing out to you. You flip yourself around in a way that makes good sense. We're going to go ball underneath the side body rib cage area. Top leg is going to do that little bit of work, but we stay nice and lively in the upper body. So the rib cage is in that lift. Shoulder is braced. Head is nice and engaged. Leg is moving at a nice dynamic pace. Are you holding tension in your jaw? Can you breathe comfortably in and out through your nose and soften your jaw just a little bit? 3 seconds left. All right, that's time. Lower that leg, slide it back just a touch. Lower that bottom arm, reach the upper arm up and overhead. Get that little lateral side stretch, and then take a few slow, deep breaths. Nice. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up. Keep your Pilates ball in your space. Grab your foam roller if you're sticking around. If you got to get on with the rest of your day, maybe take just a little butterfly stretch just to kind of get your hips nice and alive and awake. And then when you're ready, we're going to just clear our space just enough so that we can take our foam roller into long spine position. So place your roller onto long spine position, tailbone on one end, head on the other end. Very similar positioning to when we're up against the wall. So if when you are up against the wall, if it is a challenge to get the back of your head to connect against the wall, put a little blankie or a little towel across where your head would be to give it that held up support, so you don't have to, basically so that you don't have to tilt your chin up to try to compensate for where your head wants to land. Let your head land where it lands. All right, find your way down onto your roller. Take a second to just kind of work out all the little wiggles. Get yourself nice and comfortable. Arms are going to open out into T position, palms facing up. Fingertips are going to find the shoulders, and you're going to take your elbows and draw them in some nice slow but generous circles. So you're going to take your arms and your elbows and circle them around as far as they'll comfortably go, but look for a little bit of slowness to the pace, because we're looking for range of motion versus looking for just like crazy amounts of reps. So if like what we're shooting for is like, can we get the elbows to touch in that middle position? Take your time, go nice and slow. All right, and then when you're ready, reverse it and go the other way. And then same thing here, we're looking for that slowness so that we can shoot for that little bit of range of motion work. One more big, wide range of motion circle. And then think goalpost or cactus. So you're going to go for that 90-degree bend. And we're going to start with just a little bit of in and out. So we're going to bring the forearms and the hands together in front of the chest and then move it a little in and out. And then we're going to add that little incremental walking up an inch. So the next time you come in, when your elbows and your forearms meet, move it up an inch or so, stay in that upper inch position, and then start to come back to that open and close. And then with this one, it's like not specific. It's just kind of where does your range of motion end? The next time you come in, lift your elbows up another inch, stay there, open and close. Awesome. The next time the elbows come in, 1 more inch, move it up just a little bit more. And then that's our last point. So go for your edge if you've got one, and then go for that nice open and close. In the open position, you will find that probably your elbows and your arms do not touch the ground. So the next time you're out in that open position, you're going to test the water. Could you sustain a hold in this out and open position? And if you can sustain it, stay in that open position and open and close your hands. Big, wide stretch of the fingers, and then a nice tight fist. One more, open and close the hands. Arms are going to come back out to T position. So let your arms swing out, maybe T, maybe A, so that they can find the ground. And then you're going to let the backs of your hands rest comfortably. Take a nice big breath. All right, now hands are going to come down a little bit further, but now you're going to flip so that the palms are facing down and your hands are going to be your support team. You're going to walk your feet in a little bit closer, adjust and organize your back so it feels good on the roller. And now we're going to start with an alternating knee lift with both feet in the grounded position. And then as you do this little bit of work here, you're just going to check in with your head position. Do you feel like your head is tilted chin up and you're looking up towards the corner of your ceiling? Could you lengthen the back of your neck and still keep your head comfortably connected to the roller? If this bit of work is feeling good and you're feeling nice and sturdy and nice and strong, then we're going to take it into that double leg lift in that reverse table position and take our taps from there. And then you're going to play with just one last little thing of dorsiflexing the feet and see if that changes the feeling of the work or the organization that you feel in your body. We want to feel nice and sturdy, nice and strong, in good control of our work. Beautiful. One more time through. And then slowly and mindfully set your feet down. Pause just for a moment to just let everything have a breath to settle. All right, now we're going to go into inner thigh work. So we're going to slowly roll off of the foam roller. We've got our Pilates ball. So if you have a tendency to feel like the work with the foam roller is like, oh, right, you get in your feelings about it a little bit, the Pilates ball can offer you just that slightly softer tool. So we're going to flip around so that we're onto our belly. Either your Pilates ball or the foam roller. You're going to put it to the inside of the knee. The foam roller, I find, feels really nice and firm. I can get into the muscle tissue a little bit. The Pilates ball is softer. It's got a little bit more give. It makes you feel a little bit nicer. It does more of that increased blood flow, stimulate the fascia. So choose your own adventure. Foam roller or Pilates ball, and we're just popping one leg up onto whatever tool you're working with, and we're rolling in and out. So we're just going in towards the hip crease and out towards the knee. All right, now, no matter which tool you're working with, the next time you come a little bit closer to the knee. So we're still in the inner thigh. We want to make it so that we can get a little internal, external rotation. So you're going to go heel towards the ground or instep of the foot towards the ground. That's your external rotation. And then internal rotation is the internal rotation of the thigh bone where the heel lifts up away. And it will feel, especially if you're on the foam roller, it's going to feel like it's massaging that muscle right along the inside of the knee. So come up and down with that leg, go for a comfortable pace, go for a comfortable depth. All right, now we're going to take it for a little kicky leg. So you're just going to bend and straighten your knee a little bit. Beautiful. One more bend and straighten, and then roll off just enough. We're going to move the roller up so we can get into the bicep. So you're going to come up and you can go Pilates ball or you can go for your foam roller. Both tools really do a nice job here. So you're going to get your bicep onto the roller, and then we're going to do a little palm flip, palm flip, palm flip. So you just want to get the medius part of your upper arm onto the roller, and then just give it a roll. Roll your palm one direction, roll your palm the other way. Give it one more good palm roll, and then you're going to see if you can just get your skin. So think about, like, let's say the tricep, the back of your arm. You're going to get the skin of your tricep onto your roller, and you're going to do a little bit of a drag down, and then you're going to keep it in that slightly dragged and twisted position, and then think bicep curl. So we want to feel like we just put a little bit of little tension on the skin, that superficial fascia, and then we're just moving from within. Excellent. Take one more bicep curl, and then we're just going to go at a slight angle, get it right up underneath the front of your armpit, rest on it for just a second. So just a little bit of body weight mushed into the armpit muscle at the front of the armpit chest. And then just for a second here, slow your breath down. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, we're passing all of that work over to the other side. So pass your foam roller or your Pilates ball over to your left side. And then we're working into that inner thigh. So go from the knee to the hip crease, get as much roll here as feels good. One side might be different from the other. One side might have a different history than the other. One side might be dealing with recouping or rehabbing or prehabbing. So sometimes one side just might want that different kind of work. So you get here and the foam roller feels a little too firm, switch over to the Pilates ball. All right, now the next time you come closer towards the knee, want to just find a shape where the heel can slightly come in front of the foam roller so that the instep can touch the ground. And then we lift up so we get that external internal rotation at the thigh bone, massaging that muscle right towards the inside of the knee. Could be tender for some of us. So here's where the Pilates ball might feel just a little bit better. So always choose the tool that feels just right to you today. All right, now the next time the leg is in somewhere in the middle and that slight lift, just sort of a neutral, then we take it for that little hinge, kicking the leg out and bending and bringing it back in. Lovely. One more in and out with that knee and then roll off just enough. Now we're going to move the foam roller up so it comes underneath the bicep. So find that thickest part of the upper arm that you can, and then give it a little roll. Palm flip one way, palm flip the other way. Beautiful. Take one more moment there, and then you're going to see if you can just adjust it so that you get the skin of the tricep, the back of the arm onto the roller, and then give it just a little slow drag so that the elbow can come into that bent position. So we want to feel like we can do that bicep curl. So we position the arm so that strategically you can just bend and straighten, but we want to feel like there's just that little tug against the skin. The superficial fascia is being held in just that little bit of that interesting novel position, and then we're moving from within. Take a few more bicep curls. All right, one more in and out there. And then when you're ready, move it up just so enough that it comes at an angle right into that muscle at the front of the armpit. So we tilt the foam roller, get it right up underneath that front muscle of the armpit. And then with as much body weight on as you can stand, hang out, stay steady, slow, deep, intentional breath. Keep your breath coming in and out. Where we're heading next, we're going to put the foam roller or the Pilates ball underneath the soft tissue of the abdomen. So we'll line it up with the belly button. We'll do a little contract and release to get that little bit of compliance to soften over the ball, or soften over the foam roller, and then we'll stay there for a few cycles of breath. Just choose the tool that would feel really good to you today. If you've already had like a big breakfast and you're trying to digest a bunch of stuff, soft tool or no tool at all is going to feel probably the best. All right, take a second to lift off, come through your table-like position just so you can reposition your tool. Foam roller, firmer. Soft tool, Pilates ball. Line it up with your belly button. Get onto the soft tissue of your abdomen, but shoot for like more of a sphinx-like position so that you feel like your knees and your elbows and forearms can help hold you up. And then we're going to contract the abdominal muscles. You want to contract your belly muscles like you're trying to push the ball or the foam roller away from you or press it down into the ground. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly soften your abdominal muscles. so that you get that little sense of compliance of letting the body melt over the tool. And then do it again. Contract the muscles like you're trying to push it away from your belly. Get that firmness in your center. Hold it steady for a second. And then get that softness. Allow the muscles to melt over the tool. All right, and then do it again. Contract the muscles. Hold that steady firmness. And then when you feel ready, soften, 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 melt the abdominal muscles over the soft tool or the foam roller, whatever you've got going on, whatever tool you're using, take a second. And then stay more in this Sphinx-like position. So keep your elbows underneath you and then just use your elbows to push a little side to side. So it feels like you're getting just that little, almost think hip slushing, right? And you can hip slush too if it feels good. Just that little bit of wiggly movement across your abdomen in this slightly higher position. Check in here with your breath. You want to make sure that you're breathing comfortably. You're not clenching your jaw. You're not furrowing your brow. You're not cursing me long distance, right? So find all of those feelings where you can just kind of be available and soften. And then if everything feels good, and you might want that secondary tool, you might put it underneath your heart or your center of your chest so that you can come just a little bit lower over that foam roller. I love the Pilates ball under the chest and the foam roller across my abdomen, but you can flip it and reverse it. There's no right or wrong. And then see if you can just take a few slow, deep, intentional breaths here. Now, when I do my personal practice, my belly on the ball, I get on it. I do a little bit of pre-work. I get on it and then I just set a timer and hang out there for 3 minutes. So we're not going to stay there for full 3, but when you're ready, come up just enough. And we're going to move the foam roller now so that it comes underneath the front pockets of the jeans. So you're just going to move the foam roller down, get it underneath your hip points. And then once you've got it underneath your hip points, take it to a little bit of a roll over to the right, and then slow roll over to the left, and take your time as you go. All right, now the next time you come over to that right side, stay there. Take a little gentle roll up and down. One more roll up and down, and then roughly line up with that hip point, and then take it into that little tip forward and back, like you're tipping into the front pockets of your jeans and the back pockets of your jeans. Beautiful. One more tip forward and back, and then slowly, carefully roll your way through center, line up with your hip points. And then when you're ready, take it over to the other side and then roll it up and down. Nice. One more good roll up and down, and then line up roughly with your hip point, and then take it into that tip forward and back. Beautiful. One more tip forward and back, and then come back through center. And now we're going to do that hip slush. So you're going to get your hip points, your hip bones onto the roller. Support your upper body in that Sphinx-like position, and then just do that nice shimmy of your hips across. So you want to feel like the weight of your body is still resting on the foam roller. It's holding the skin and connective tissue. You're moving the muscle and bony structure, and it's getting that nice gloss and glide situation going on, but it's also a little bit of a soft rhythm. So it's nice for the nervous system. It's just beneficial to the fascia. Take 1 or 2 more good hip slushes from side to side. And then once you feel like you've hip slushed it just enough, walk yourself up to a tabletop position, child's pose position, whichever variation you like best. Big toes together, knees apart, big toes together, knees together. We want to get the foam roller, we want to get it underneath our forehead. And when we go into the forehead, we're going to get it so that we drag the skin upward and then we move our head a little bit side to side. So get yourself just so. Bring the foam roller towards your eyebrow and then smush the foam roller up towards your hairline. So it kind of feels like it gently pulls the skin upward. And then once you got that skin in that slight upward lifted position, do a little turn of your head from side to side. One more turn from side to side and then bring it back to center, find a little stillness. Now we're going to lift up and find a new point. So let's say go above the right eyebrow. So you're going to turn your head slightly, go above the right eyebrow, skin on, drag the skin up towards the hairline, and then turn your head gently side to side. Beautiful. One more turn of the head side to side here. Lift up slowly, take it over to the left eyebrow. So we come slightly above the left eyebrow, skin on, drag the skin slightly up towards the hairline, hold it in that tighter position, and then start to turn your head a little side to side. Nice. One more turn from side to side, and then bring it back to center just for a breath, just so you can feel that little subtle reset in the cervical spine. And then we're going to slowly lift up tabletop position with the forearms onto the roller. So you're going to come up just enough, adjust your knees so that they're underneath you to give a little support. Then we're going to go for the little palm flip action. So you're going to go palms flip down, palms flip up, get a little bit of rotation into your arms, and a gentle roll across the forearms. Nice. Now we're going to go out to that further out position, but now we're going to go hands onto the roller. So think piano fingers or tented fingers. So you're going to walk that foam roller out and then tent your fingers like you're making your nice piano hands or cupcake hands onto the roller. So you're all nicely stretched out, and then add some head movement. So you're going to inhale and look forward like you're trying to look past your roller, and then exhale, look down like you're trying to look past your knees. Inhale, lift your chin, look forward. Exhale, look down. One more just like that. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, look down. Nice. And then slowly, carefully bring it all in. We're going to spin it around so that we're sitting our butt up onto the roller. So get there in any way that makes good sense. Put your butt onto that roller. And then once you've got your way there, big roll across the glutes. Take it all the way over to the right and then all the way over to the left. All right, now the next time you go over to the right, stay there, lean into that side glute. So put as much body weight onto it as you can stand, and then take that inner knee and just do that nice knee drive, like you're driving the knee up towards the shoulder and then kicking the knee away. Excellent. One more in and out, and then let the legs settle just a little bit. Give it that little half butterfly flap. Awesome. One more butterfly flap, and then take it for a nice, good roll up and down. One more good roll up and down. And then when you're ready, roll on across to the other side. Lean into that side glute as much as you can and take that inner knee for that drive. Drive it up towards the shoulder and kick the leg away. One more in and out, and then bring it in just a little bit. Let the legs settle, and then the half butterfly flap. One more half butterfly flap, and then take that glute for a roll. Roll it up and down. Awesome. One more good roll up and down, and then come back to center. Lift your butt up, line up with that like bra line, low rib cage, upper back area. Get your back up onto the roller, hands behind the head to give a little support, and then slow roll your way up and down. Take your time. Let this be like the last one, so it's slow as it can possibly be. Take one last good slow roll up and down, and then you're just going to let your head rest on the foam roller like a pillow. So set your butt down, move that foam roller so that it comes underneath your head. Get it nicely adjusted so that you can just reduce effort for a moment. Let your hands rest comfortably, let your head rest comfortably. Take a nice, big, slow, intentional filling up breath. Nice, slow exhalation. Maybe add just that little gentle turn of the head from side to side as we start to reawaken. And as you start to just bring that light, gentle movement back in, take a moment to set that good intention to fill up with some good positive energy for the rest of the day. And then once you feel like you've moved your head just enough, lift your head, move the foam roller out from underneath you, and then take it into that yawning, reaching stretch. Stretch your legs nice and long, arms up above your head, point your toes, spread your fingers, and then on that inhale, we take that yawning, stiffening stretch. And then exhale brings a little softness in, and then slowly bring yourself up to a standing position. Take your time as you come up, and we're just going to take a little side yawn stretch. So as you come up to your standing position, just grab one wrist, take it up and overhead, and then you're going to think push down into your foot, spread your fingers, take an inhale, yawn, and reach and stretch through that whole side. Exhale takes you into a little softness. Then we take it over to the other side. Grab the wrist, lift up, get that little side bend, and then the inhale takes you to the next depth. Inhale, push into your foot, spread your fingers, get that yawn into your side. And then exhale, takes you into a little softness. Give your body a little bounce, a little shake. Shake out the Etch-a-Sketch. Get clear screen for the rest of the day. You guys are amazing. Nice work today.